Hello everybody, this is me, Super Mario J, and welcome to a discussion video with proper lighting this time. I am filming this at night. um, so over in the US it would be daytime, but here in Italy it is nighttime. So I'm fine. I said screw it. I don't care. My family's asleep. I'm gonna record a video because I just can't film in the daylight. It's so annoying. Um, as you can see by the title, I am going to be talking to you guys about a leak. I'm gonna say it as a leak rumor or rumor of a leak. Just because I don't want to full on say it because we don't know yet. We don't really have a ton of you know, and like there's not a huge chance of confirmation of this being real. You know, at least for me to consider this a leak. But yeah, this is a 4chan link by an anonymous user, so take it with a grain of salt. And that, as a matter of fact, what I'm gonna say in this video, take it with a huge grain of salt because some of the information here, I just don't see it being Odyssey 2 if it is true. And the reason why this leak is a rumor is getting a lot of traction is because the same anonymous user who has information on Odyssey 2 also has information on Sonic Frontiers, the new Sonic game coming out next year in the holiday season. And this was actually reported in 2019, so 2 years ago was this reported. The fact that it got, I don't remember seeing the Sonic Frontiers name on it, but it did have Starfall Islands, which is the name of the island that is in Sonic Frontiers. I don't really care for the Sonic stuff, so I just flat out ignored it. But I do know that the Sonic Frontiers confirmation does have some involvement with the Odyssey 2 rumor. So with that game being confirmed, this very well be confirmed as well. But we just don't know because what a lot of people think is real, including myself, is that in this because the anonymous user, in order to avoid like being sued and stuff, they had decided to chop stuff up into like a presentation slide show. So there's a lot of stuff like concept A, concept B, C, D, etc. And even one of the images that was used for Sonic, it was a fan made Sonic image, which from what I'm here, from what I hear, companies do that all the time. They use fan stuff just to get ideas out there. But yeah, so who knows if this could be real or not, but it is just weird how most of the slides were about Sonic, and then you have this one slide on Mario. So yeah, so a lot of people are taking it with another layer of grain salt. So without further ado, let's get into the information because I'm done with this little introduction. I will have a link to it, to the 4chan thread in the description below, so if you want to go check that out, do so. Go on right ahead, and I will have a link to a Twitter post from a user that it's not the actual anonymous user, but they did make a recent post this month about the whole Sonic Frontiers and Odyssey 2 thing. So go check that out. So it starts off with this thing called the second act, which could be the title name, and below it says, explore even more bizarre and beautiful landscapes as you discover, capture, and control new enemies. Join forces with the new and old familiar friends as you battle against Bowser and his loyal Gumbas, Gumboos or whatever. It's funny because a lot of people are saying that the person who could have made this false leak, maybe they spelled Goombas wrong, which is probably likely, but I just don't see how someone who's trying to frame this as real would make a spelling error like that. So who knows? Maybe this is a new species of Goombas, so who knows? But it is worth of noting that this is a spelling error potentially when it was really meant to say Goombas. But I just don't know how with the lawyer Goombas makes any sense. Just saying that, why would it only be just Goombas when Bowser has a whole bunch of other minions, So yeah, let's just take that into account. The next bullet point says, Mario and Cappy head off on another adventure, but this time Luigi is along, and it sort of cuts off because the user doesn't want to put too much information to where they're getting sued. So yeah. But then it says Cappy's best friend Paolo has also decided to join the party. Now this is actually one of the hats in the first game, where one of the hat species in the cat kingdom, and not cat kingdom, no, in the hat kingdom. So there's that as well. Which Paolo being one of the hats that people could wear, does make sense, I know that there's some people who are like, but wait, why would they have Paolo with Bowser, But, honestly, it doesn't, like, dude, we have Mario and Wario and Luigi and Waluigi. No, forget that. We have Mario and Wario. I'm pretty sure Nintendo's fine with stuff like Paolo and Bowser. But Luigi joining the adventure would be cool. I know a lot of people, including myself, wanted Luigi in the first game to be playable. Sadly, he got reduced to a stupid balloon mode. Hide your balloon and find some person's balloon, which it was a fun mode. But I really do wish we got to play as Luigi, because Luigi's fun to play. Not only that, but how can you have a Mario adventure without Luigi? You can't just have them be on the sidelines with some stupid little side mode. The next up here, it says, playing with a friend is even more fun with new interactions between Cappy, sort of goes off, and then creature or enemy you can control, which I assume would be you can capture a creature or enemy you can control, which I would assume is what it would possibly say. And one thing I should mention though is at the top it does say 1 to 2 players, local and online co-op, in action and adventure, along with like some concept letter. I think it's like E or F. I'm not too sure. The next bullet point, it says take off on a newly remoded Odyssey to explore new corners of the universe. Sort of goes off. Paint to customize and upgrade your Odyssey as you progress. Now this one I'm gonna just say all the bullet points and then give you guys my thoughts. So the next bullet point says Cappy isn't the only sidekick that will help along the quest. Yoshi and other something, I would assume it says friends, will and then join your party. 20 distinct locations are filled with hundreds of new puzzles, creatures, enemies. It goes off, but I would say etc. just to make it short and simple. And then the last bullet point says hundreds of new side quests that offer up over 100 hours of additional action. Now, my whole thoughts on this is that as much as I love this concept of Odyssey 2, I don't see this as Odyssey 2. I'm sorry. But Odyssey is a 3D Mario sandbox game, and I just don't see how, with what I'm reading off of here, is a 3D sandbox Mario game. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even say it's a 3D sandbox Mario game, which you would think would clarify it again. Just because it's a sequel to a game doesn't mean that gameplay is going to carry over into the sequel. It could be totally different. But I would assume at Nintendo, they're not going to change the gameplay for a sequel. It is probably going to have that same gameplay, but maybe even evolved. So the fact that it doesn't say 3D sandbox Mario really concerns me, and it should concern you as well, because if this is true, then Odyssey 2 could be a totally different game than what we were hoping for. I mean, heck, look at the Secret to Breath of the Wild. It has the same gameplay, but it obviously evolves with giving Link more powers and etc. Especially having him be up in the air. But it's probably still going to be the same gameplay, just like I said, a little bit evolved. Another thing that really concerns me is the story. I know the story doesn't. I know what I'm reading doesn't say much about the story, but if we're going across the universe, but if we're going through the universe and stuff, which is mostly space related, why not just make that Galaxy 3? I just don't understand how, because Odyssey, the first Odyssey, it had us exploring the planet Earth. One planet, but obviously different locations. I just don't see us going through different planets or universes. I just don't see it. If we're going to have an Odyssey 2, it's probably going to be on the same Earth, but different locations, or a different planet. but we're going into the planet and exploring their different locations, you know. Um, but yeah, I just can't see it being space themed when you have galaxy right there. Not only that, but we are getting sparks of hope, which is being based on space and us exploring different planets. So overall, it just feels so weird to have two Mario games in the same year dealing with space and us traveling across the different universes and stuff like that. So yeah, I this whole space theme, I just don't see it. I really just don't. It could be one of those themes that um, the leader is taking out of is being exaggerated, but just to avoid being sued. But yeah, it's really just hard for me to accept this story of traveling across space and the universe. So yeah, um, the sidekicks. Luigi, I understand. You know, you want to have the co-op feature. As a matter of fact, a lot of people wanted the co-op feature in the first one, and there have been some mods that have added the co-op feature in the side. I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo did add a co-op feature in the sequel, and obviously have it be Luigi because, you know, Mario and Luigi. You can't have Mario and Yoshi and not involve Luigi, you know. But Yoshi and other friends joining your party, this isn't Odyssey. This isn't a 3D sandbox Mario game anymore. It's not. It's almost like an RPG game. I'm sorry, but I I just like Odyssey 2 would obviously evolve the gameplay, but not this much. Not this much. I'm sorry, but coming from someone as as a huge Mario fan, I want as much as I want this to be true. This isn't Odyssey 2, and if it's not Odyssey 2, if it's not the same as the first Odyssey, I don't want it. Either you come up with a new name that's not Odyssey 2, or you scrap the whole part together because this is just not a sequel that I want. You know, this is too much. Um, you know, you're just putting so much into a sequel when it's how do I say this without like without getting too much flack? This is just way too much like different gameplay styles. That it's not that it's not a secret to Odyssey. I don't feel it's a secret to Odyssey. If anything, I feel like it's a different game experience than the first Odyssey. You know, 20 distinct locations are filled with hundreds of new puzzles, creatures, enemies, etc. This one I do believe in. Considering that I forgot how much was in the first game, but it was sort of close to like 15 to 20 locations. So this one I do see it being I do see 20 distinct locations being sort of accurate. You know, if you are going to have locations, it has to be more than what the first one offered, or maybe even the same. Um, but yeah, that one I do believe in. Hundreds of new side quests that offer up over 100 hours of additional blank. I say action just because to fill it. It did sort of leave off with an A, so that's what I do believe, action content or something. Um, this one I'm not too sure if I would believe it just because I mean additional side quest. I'm not too sure if Mario games have ever done it. If anything, with Odyssey, it was almost like the side quest were part of the main quest. You know, just obviously you had to get a moon to fuel up the Odyssey. So it's almost like this the side quests weren't just side quests, but were also part of the main quest. But with this one being hundreds of hours of new side quests, it doesn't really. No, with hundreds of new side quests, it doesn't really feel like it's part of the main story, or even like post game. It's almost like it was just there for fun, which I don't really see that being like in Mario games. I just don't see that too often. I could be wrong. um, but yeah, like I said, some things I do want to point out is that, like I said, it doesn't say 3D sandbox. Sorry guys, I had to pop there for a second. It doesn't say 3D Mario sandbox game, which if this is Odyssey 2, then it has to be a 3D Mario sandbox game. Another thing is that it doesn't say anything about the moons, which do feel the Odyssey. So I don't understand how the moons can't play a part of it unless with this remodeled Odyssey, it takes different collectibles to fuel the Odyssey. Painting the Odyssey, I don't see that as well. I just feel like at that point you're adding too much into the gameplay. Yes, is it cool? Is it cool? Yes. But is it something that I think it deserves to be in the game? No. Um, so yeah. But I think with that, I'm pretty much done. Like I said, with what we have here, I don't believe this is Odyssey 2. I just don't see it being Odyssey 2. With Sparks of Hope coming out, this it this if this is going to be based on space again, it has to be Galaxy 3. It just has to be Galaxy 3. With Odyssey 2 being like a code name just to distract people or just to confuse people who are speculating on these rumors or leaks. I would love to see an Odyssey 2. And it is one thing to note that what the hell has the Odyssey team been doing over these past 5 years? Sure, they did. I think it's in 1 year, maybe even two, to the DLC costumes and Luigi's Balloon World. But other than that, I just don't know what the Odyssey team has been up to these past few years. Some people are saying a Donkey Kong game, and it could be that. And I believe it was in this link, or I heard it from some other YouTuber, that the Odyssey team is working on the DK game and this as well. So who knows? But yeah, but with all that, I am pretty much done with this like little discussion video. Do I want to believe it? Yes, but do I think it's true? No. I'm gonna say this with a huge grain of salt, and I believe all of you guys who watch this video should as well. We obviously know that these are just leaks, so these could be false, and honestly, just don't try to put too much hope into it. Same thing happened with last year with 3D All Stars. Even though it was true, I was seeing a lot of people being disappointed almost every single month because we weren't getting any information on 3D All Stars until September when we did get it. So yeah, so just keep your expectations low, and if we do get it, and if we do get any Nintendo Direct in January or February, we might even see Odyssey 2 be revealed. But yeah, we just need to take this with a grain of salt. Be patient. Don't try to put too much hype into it just because it might not be real. But if this was made in 2019, if it is true, then chances are the release date is probably going to be 2022 or 2023, as far as we know. But even then, I don't think any game that Nintendo puts out, even Breath of the Wild 2, is going to win Game of the Year. I just don't. With God of War Ragnarok, Starfield, Halo Infinite, because that's all gonna join the Game Awards next year. Elden Ring, no, just no. I don't see any Nintendo game winning Game of the Year award. I just want to put that out there. But yeah, but overall, that's it for me, guys. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's get a discussion going, or like a little chat going, just because it's fun to talk about these things. And once again, remain calm. Don't put too much hype into it, or else you will be disappointed if it does not come true. But yeah, but that's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this long discussion video. And if you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I will see you all in the next video. This is Super Mario 19J signing out.